Got a question for you. What is rhinoplasty? Well, we know its slang term, nose job. And this woman underwent rhinoplasty after nasal surgery left her with significant deformities. And this is her after. Check that out. Now, who restored her nose and her confidence? I want to introduce you to renowned plastic surgeon. That's Dr. George Toledo of Highland Park Plastic Surgery Center, and he brought with him that patient, and that is Mirjana. And good morning to both of you guys. Okay, so Dr. Toledo, I want you to introduce this very special case.
Oh, well, this is Mirjana. Mirjana's from Croatia, and we got to know each other 20 years ago. And she came by my office really just wanting her breast done. And I thought, well, that's okay, but I saw that nose. I said, you know, what happened to your nose? And she said, well, I've had 3 nose jobs and nobody else will touch it. And I said, well, you can't go through life with that nose. Let me take care of that for you.
Yeah.
And so, you know, 20 years later, she came back to the office wanting, you know, like a little nip and tuck, and I remembered that nose and how hard it was and how happy it made her.
Mirjana, speak to that, because and like Dr. Toledo said, you just thought you were going to have to deal with this, and you weren't happy with the end result, obviously, before you saw Dr. Toledo. So how did this change your confidence?
Well, first of all, it was the nose that I had before was a shock for my esteem. I just cannot tell you how much. And I gave up the hope that it can be corrected, because I went to the surgeons, and they would say that the nose is too small and that it cannot be corrected. So I was pretty much determined that I will have a miserable life.
Oh, and so obviously you've remembered how much he helped you so many years ago, and you came back.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And what made you come back?
Well, when I met him first, he did tell me that he's the best surgeon in town. And I did not believe him. And when I saw my nose afterwards, I told everybody he's the best surgeon in town. So that's why I came back.
And this is kind of what speaks to you, is that you don't advertise a lot. And so many of your patients, it's word of mouth and amazing success stories like Mirjana.
Well, it's all word of mouth. You know, over the last 20 years, you know, she's probably sent a dozen patients. And so if you do good work, you don't need to advertise.
Why are rhinoplasties so specific and hard to perform, and so many doctors in your field can't perform them correctly?
You know, it's got the highest revision rate of any surgery. Even among the best board-certified plastic surgeons, it's a 20% revision rate. And then, of course, there's some surgeons that all of them need to be revised. And it's just no room for error. Even a millimeter off. You know, she was probably 5 millimeters off, but if you're just off a millimeter or off a couple of degrees, it shows, and patients just aren't very happy. And then you got to worry about the breathing and the sinuses and everything else. So it's a very complicated, you know, procedure. And
do you perform a lot of these?
We do, and actually most of mine, more than half are revisions.
Wow, okay, so fixing other people's work, is that what we're saying?
Right.
Okay, so do you have a lot of repeat clients like Mirjana who come back after years?
Of course. You know, it's I've been at it for 30 years, so I mean, I've taken care of grandmothers and mothers and you know, daughters.
Right.
And so it's great because you build relationships over the years. And so it's fun.
Multi-generational surgeries and helping so many, and like beautiful Mirjana, giving her hope and confidence. Thank you for sharing your very personal story. And Dr. Toledo, always good to see you. And if you want more information, call Dr. George Toledo at Highland Park Plastic Surgery Center at 214-363-4444. And you can also log on to his website. It's ToledoPlasticSurgery.com.